The inside story of the last abduction that nailed billionaire and kidnapper Evans. For 7 years, suspected daredevil kidnapper Chukwudemeje George Owamadike aka Evans escaped police dragnet. His escape during his daring kidnapping runs had conferred on him supernatural invisibility of a sort. His reign, however, came to an end after a police special squad led by Abba Kyari, an assistant commissioner of police (ACP), arrested him at his number 3 Fred Shoboyede Street, Magodo, Lagos home after a fierce gun battle which lasted several hours. Hello guys, welcome back to Make We Gist. If you're new here, consider subscribing and be part of this family. Be sure to hit the red subscription bell so you get notified whenever we drop a new video. For 7 years, suspected devil kidnapper Chukwudemeje George Owamadike aka Evans escaped police dragnet. His escape during his daring kidnapping runs had conferred on him supernatural ability. An abduction carried out by his gang on February 14th had paved way for his demystification. On that day, which coincidentally was celebrated all over the world as St. Valentine's Day, otherwise known as Lover's Day, a pharmacist and the owner of Maidon Pharmaceutical Company in Ilupeju, Lagos, Dr. Donatus Dunu, was abducted by Evans' gang. Dunu had barely left his office in the evening when he was blocked by a vehicle. Before he knew it, Evans' gun-wielding men had stepped out of the vehicle and bundled the pharmacist into their vehicle and sped off to number 21 Prophet Asaye Close, New Igando, a Lagos suburb where he was kept for 3 months. Yes, you heard me right, good 3 months. Evans subsequently demanded the payment of sum of 1 million euros. Exactly, 1 million euros as ransom. That's a lot of money. Well, despite effort to make Evans see reasons and reduce the money, he would have none of it. Even after a sum of 100 million naira had been paid to him, it was either the money was paid or Dunu paid with his life. Those were his words. While looking for the money, Dunu's wife, who is also a director of the company's staff members, organized prayers for the safe return of their boss. One of the workers said, "We did not only pray but engage in fasting too. Who will not pray and fast for his boss? What if his boss was in such a condition? It was really traumatic for us." Unknown to Dunu's wife and his workers, the persons who gave the information leading to Dunu's abductions was one of the staff members of the company, identified as Emeka, who was employed about 5 years ago. Before we continue, guys, I just want to use this medium to advise people, please know your circle. Be careful who you tell your daily activities to, and be careful who you employ as an employee. And not just as an employee, be careful who your friends are. So let's continue, guys. At the gang's den in New Igado, where Dunu was kept, he had given up hope on the possibility of regaining his freedom. But he had a big break in the early hours of Friday, May 12, 2017. While his captors were deep in sleep, despite losing his weight, Dunu managed to wriggle out of the leg cuff he was held with. He was only wearing a pair of shorts and white singlets. A perimeter fence with broken bottles was to become a major obstacle to his escape, but the victim used his bare hand to maneuver and shattered bottles climbed his way to freedom. It was length that when it landed into an ununit building, it was mistaken for a fleeing robber or cultist. Security guards raised the alarm, which attracted neighbors to the scene, and it was providence that saved him from being lynched by the mob. One of the security guards, who asked not to be named, said, "I just came to my duty post that day when I started hearing the shout out of thief thief. I came out and saw this fair complexion man running towards me. I stopped him near that mini tanker. He pointed at the description stationary tanker. He was wearing only his bosses and with white singlet placed on his shoulder. There was fear in his eyes and he looked sick and traumatized. His body was blood-stained and there were injuries on his legs, probably because he had been cuffed on his legs for a very long time. Some people were unwilling to listen to him and they wanted to take him away. I said no. They should leave him here and instantly call the elders of the community. I took him to the front of the Foursquare church and told him to sit in the entrance of the church. I then asked how much the kidnappers were demanding from him and how much he had paid, and he said they were demanding 500 million naira and he had paid about 100 million naira. I was shocked. We then took him to the Igando Division Police Station. Later that afternoon, the operatives of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, returned with him to the streets, but he was so tired and sick, he did not even come out of the vehicle. They broke into the compound, but the kidnappers had escaped. So many things were discovered in the compound, including guns, a white bus and a power bike. I had never seen any power bike on the street before then. Asked about the activities in the compound, our source said the abductors kept to themselves. The guy there, whenever he was driving in from outside, the gate would have been opened before he got to the gates. In addition, loud music was always waiting from the bungalow. This always muffled every noise coming from there. This happened mostly in the daytime. In the night, of course, the generating set would take over. So we neighbors could never have known what went on there. With the escape of Duno, he was able to make a useful statement to the police about his kidnapping. The next day, May 13th, SARS operatives in 4 patrol vans stormed Franzaki Street, Bonko Estate of Isheri Osun Road. It was rented home of one of the workers of Maidon Pharmaceutical, identified as Emeka, a pharmacist. He is from Ogota, Imo State, and is late 30s or early 40s. He has a wife and a child. According to the residents, who were rattled by early morning raid, Emeka was weeks away from his house by the police. Since then, the residents said he was not returned. It was on the basis of his breakthrough that the Lagos Commissioner of Police, Fatai Owoseni, 4 days after Emeka's arrest on May 16, declared a certain faceless Evans wanted. He said, "We are encouraging Nigerians to blow the whistle on this kidnapper. Whoever blows the whistle will get the sum of 30 million naira reward, as stated by the Inspector General of Police." Evans has been on the wanted list of the police in Anambra, Edo, and Lagos State for many years. The suspect arrested have been giving us valuable information which the command is working on and ensure that the apprehended is taking place by all means. Operatives of the Inspector General of Police anti-kidnapping team went into action, and with the aid of high-tech equipment, they were able to track key members of the kidnap syndicate, rounded them up, and then set the stage for the final arrest of Evans. This came last when Evans was demystified by the police, moved at the victim's firm. At the headquarters of Maidon Pharmaceutical Company Limited at 15 Women's Street, Ipejo, Lagos, the atmosphere was subdued. The workers discussed in a low tone. There were several innuendos about a certain Emeka from Ogota. Both Mr. Donatus Duno, the chairman of the company, and his wife, the managing director, were not on seats. Funny enough, it was said that Evans was a South African base. He used to live in South Africa and was a drug syndicate before returning to Nigeria to start his new business. And he did terrorize Edo State and some other state and was declared wanted before relocating to Lagos. He was reportedly traced to his palatial home in Magodo, Lagos, while he had already packed his bags and luggages ready to fly back to South Africa the next day before he was arrested. It was also gathered that after his arrest, the elated members of the IGP's team, led by Deputy Superintendent of Police Philip, immediately alerted their leader ACP Abakiyari, who gave the Inspector General the cheery news. In Lagos, officers and men of the information, including civilians, rushed to catch a glimpse of the daredevil's kidnapper that gave them sleepless nights. It was learned that people even came from far away as Festac, as is where he had became his glorious reign by abducting wealthy men and forcing them to pay not less than 500 million naira. They were set free. As at the time of going to the press, detectives were not yet to give access to the suspect, but the police source said he may be paraded. But let's look at his exploits. One Umbarika Williams Umboma, 35, kidnapped June 16, 2012 at about 11 a.m. on his arrival from Hungary while he was close to his home. He was the company of his brother on their way from the airport when another car emerged and blocked theirs. They grabbed Uboma, blindfolded him and forcefully abducted him. He was taken to an unknown destination. They later demanded a ransom of 10 million naira. However, 2 million naira was later paid while they collected other personal accessories. It was finally dropped at Okota in the third day. Number 2 victim, Paul Cole, 34, from Ohafia in Abia State, a director with Ocean Glory Commodities, Apapa. He was kidnapped on August 3, 2012 at Festac Town, together with his general manager, Jude Ugoji, and another staff, Piriye Gogo, and taken to an unknown destination. They demanded for 10 million naira on August 6, 2012. They collected 5 million naira ransom at Maza before letting their victim off the hook. These were his earlier exploits. Number 3, Mohamed Jamal, 22, a Lebanese, was kidnapped on August 19, 2012 at Ajah by 3 armed men, taken away and blindfolded. 7 million naira ransom was later paid to Ojo Barracks. Number 4, Kingsley, was kidnapped on September 19, 2012 at Mile 2 on the bridge after it was left abandoned in Festac later after this petty kidnaps. Evans was said to have moved into bigger fishes where he would kidnap his victim and ask them for 500 million naira, or rather €1 million, or rather $1 million. He wasn't playing. All couldn't pay was to pay with his life. And a lot of people were scared of the name Evans. He tortured them and made them cry for mercy. So, God being so kind, he was caught and everyone had to live in peace. Anyways, guys, we'll just leave this story here and thank God he has been taken off the streets. And recent news came out and said he was sentenced. And some other people say he wasn't sentenced to death. But Evans has come out to say he wasn't guilty. So first of all, we all remember that he pled guilty, and now he's come out to say, he was changing his plea deal. Anyways, if you need help, consider subscribing and be part of this awesome family. See you guys in my next video. Cheers and have a wonderful life. Bye.